Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Today I'm going to do a little review of a hat hoop. Now I've seen other people review this hat hoop and they absolutely hated it. I absolutely love it. It's the Durkee hoop and this one's the 5x7. What you get is this metal piece that fits right down into your regular hoop, and to me it works perfectly. I fit it down in here. Now some people said, here's what they whined about mostly. You can't hardly get at this little screw thing right here to tighten it, which I kind of agree with, but all you need is the little tiny screwdriver that came with your machine, or, I don't know, I got this thing with my brother machine, and all you do is use this to tighten it once you have your hoop in place. And I actually have several 5x7 hoops, so I'm just going to have this one dedicated to my hat hoop for right now. So I'm not going to take it out of here. So the only other thing that you have to do is to unscrew these things to enable you to put your bill right in there. But I'm going to show you that right over here at this other station. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to embroider hats. Now, I'm just learning this for you guys. I was a little bit afraid, and a lot of you said you're afraid too. My first one was sort of a blooper. The text did not come out very good, nor did the satin stitch for the cross. This is for girls from my Bible study. Here's another one. This one turned out really pretty nicely, and I even put on the back a Bible verse. Oopsie. It's so easy, you're gonna just die. And I really like the way this one turned out with the darker gray color. I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, let's go over here first and I'll show you how to hoop it. Then we'll come back and I'll show you how easy it is to, if you want to do something like this, you can use Stitch Artist Level 1 and do the draw with points. But you know what I did? I used Stitch Artist Level 3, so I'll show you both ways. Level 3 was just easy like that. But anyway, and then I'll show you where I got the font. So let's go over here to this station and I'll show you how to hoop it. Okay, here we are, and what I'm using is the sticky stabilizer, and I found that all I need is a half a sheet. I mean, I cut it big enough to fit over this area right here, like that. So I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to turn this over because I'm going to take this apart now and stick this sticky stabilizer right on here, like that. So you can see it's right there, ready to go. So the next thing I do is I just get one of my caps, and you have to take out, of course, the cardboard inset. And, oh, I don't want to get it on the sticky yet. And I'm going to open the back strap because it makes it a little bit easier. And I'm just going to begin to kind of flatten this out a little bit like this. It'll pop right back into shape. But I'm flattening it because I'm going to use a little bit of tape. You can use painter's tape, masking tape. I just happen to have this tape. But anyway, any kind of tape, any kind of very sticky tape will work. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tape this brim, the sweat band, back out of the way. Okay, so I'm just taking this tape and taping this back out of the way like that. I may have overachieved a little bit with that piece of tape. Oopsie. Okay, here we go. So again, I'm kind of flattening it out so my tape stays nicely, and just tape this down out of place or out of the way because I don't want it to get stitched on up here. And I'll do 3 pieces usually. And I'm able to reuse these pieces, so if you think it's wasteful, it's not. Okay, there. And there we go. Okay, so now this is pretty flat. Now, as I said before, let's see if I move this back. Okay, as I mentioned before, you open these things. You don't want to take them all the way off, these little wing nuts, because then you have to stick them back on. but you're going to take your hat and place it right in there under that, like so. And your hat actually fits in there pretty nicely. And you can actually tell, I use the word actually a lot, don't I? You can tell that it's nice and straight based on the way these lines look. Okay. Alrighty then. So that looks pretty good to me. And I'm taking a little longer than I usually do. Usually, I say within a few minutes, you can have this whole thing hooped up. So there it is. All you do is tighten these wing nuts now. I mean, y'all, this is so easy. Tighten this wing nut. I guess I had it way open, further than I needed to. Just finger tight. Then you're going to take this hat. Remember the sticky stuff you put there? You're going to put this down on the sticky. Okay, and you're going to flatten it out on that sticky stuff, and that's going to hold it perfectly in place for you. Okay, there it is. So it's nicely on there, just like that. And this thing is going to stay in there perfectly, just like this. So then what I'll do is I'll just put this in my machine. Oh, and I wanted to make sure that I kind of had it centered. Forgot to tell you that. Here's a little centering mark, and there's the center of the hat. And I can check back here and make sure that this thing is centered, which it wasn't, with this. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that this line right here, the center of this, goes to the center of that, like such, like that. Okay, then to put it in my machine, I simply go over here and put this down, start threading it right over here. Got to make sure that it goes under my needle, and that little beanie thing does, and there it is. Now, the only other thing I forgot to show you is this. What I always do is I like to use this, and I'll be showing you over on my computer. I like to use the snowman feature. And so this just helps me. So I'm going to bring this back out again to show you what I'm talking about. All right, so I take this and I make sure that it's lined up perfectly, this line through the snowman, with the line on the hat. And I want to get the name Bethany down here as close as I can to the brim. I think I showed you yesterday, if you're in the Facebook group, that I didn't like that one because it was too far away from the brim, I thought. And I like the name Bethany to be like just one finger length away from the brim. And so I'll make sure that this line is also lined up like that. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back in there, and I'll show you how I use that right now before we go over to the computer to let me show you where I get the snowman and why do I want the snowman. All right, so we have the snowman guy right there. Let's move it up like this a little bit. Okay, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and say end to edit, and if you'll notice, when I hit the center dot, look where my machine starts. If I put down my needle, that is not in the center of where I put my hat. So I'm going to go ahead and use my buttons over here so that I can move it. And so I'm manipulating it. I want it to go right at the belly button, basically. So I'm moving it by hitting the arrows on my machine. Whoops, went too far. Okay, now I need to go to the right a little bit and maybe back one more. I'm going to put down the needle and see how that hit. Okay, so maybe you can see that's just a little bit off of his belly button. You see that? So I'm going to go back a little further and maybe one over this way and put on my needle again and bring it back up, and let's see, where's that thread? Oh, it's really, really close, right? maybe one dot. Let's put down the needle, bring the needle back up. All right, that looks just about perfect to me. So I am going to start this, and let's say end. I'm going to go to over here to embroidery, and we'll start it. But before we do, don't forget to take this little template off. One time I did forget and started stitching through it crazy like, but I'm going to save this template to use it for all of them because it really helps a lot. Okay, I think this turned out beautifully. I'm going to do the part on the back at the end of the video, so stay tuned. And to take this out of the hoop, of course, all I have to do are unscrew these just to loosen them. I don't need to be as crazy as I was before, just to loosen it. Then I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to carefully pull away the stuff that I stitched already. And if I leave the sticky stabilizer pretty much intact, I'll be able to reuse that, and I'll show you how I can patch that later. I've shown that in prior videos. I can take this off and save it, as I said, for the next hat that I'm going to make. And let's see how it turned out. Got to fix the brim a little bit again, and I think that turned out beautifully. I like it. Okay, one of the first things I did was I just measured on my hat where I wanted it to be placed. So I just measured here, and I knew I didn't want it to be any taller than 3 inches for this particular hat and about 2 inches wide. So from my church, they have a logo that just looks like this, and I grabbed it from the site. If you have Stitch Artist, look up here and you can see I'll bring out the create mode, and I can bring in an image. So the image that I brought in was this one from the church. And notice right now I brought it in, and it shows over here in the objects panel. And you may be thinking, well, it's not working right, Patty Ann, but it is. Because all you have to do is come over here. You must have hit this button that's the show or hide the background image. I want to show it. So there's my background image. Now, if you have Stitch Artist Level 1, it's really easy to make this because all you have to do is come to Draw with Points. Okay, I'm going to come with Draw with Points, and I'm going to have my cursor at the outer edge of the line just so I can try to make it, whoopsie, backspace, just so I can kind of try to make it nice. And right in there, and there. So you can see what I'm doing with the cursor. Hopefully I'm kind of lining it up so I have pretty straight lines. And when I get here, I'm gonna end it. And then I'm going to say, make it a satin column, and there it is, just like that. Okay, so let's watch that again. Draw with points. I'll do the outermost one now. Now I'll do the second one. I'll start at the same place, hold down my control. which changes my draw with points cursor. And again, let's scroll in and maybe you can see better. Let's see. Let me look. Okay, I'm going to draw with points. And so there, see that, how I have that cursor there? And I'm going to hold down my control key and see how the crosshairs are just hitting that edge. That's exactly what I want, just like that. Okay, come up here, hold down that control key, get right to there, and hit, and move it down again, and hit. So I'm just clicking while I'm holding down my control key the whole time, holding down my space bar now and moving this up, and I'll continue on to maybe here, hold down control there, and I'm going to say end, and there it is, it ended it just like that, or it closed it. Then that's the close button right there. Then I'm going to add a satin border, and I can change its color if I'd like to, so it's different than the first one. Make it a different color like that. And let's scroll out and see how it's looking. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's turn off that image. Remember in the beginning how I showed you could turn it on and off? And that's how you can do that. So that's how easy it is in Stitch Artist Level 1. If you have Stitch Artist Level 2 or 3, all you have to do is have open the, create mode and come over here to where it says Magic Wand. Click on that. Click on the item you want to have Magic Wand. There it is. Look over here. It automatically made a run around that. I'm going to change it to the satin border, just like that. And let's see. I'm going to click off. There it is. How's that? Easy peasy, right? For the Philippians, I got out my 4x4 regular hoop. And all I did was this, y'all. Let me move this one. Now, better start a new page. So here's my 4x4 hoop. So I just came over here, up here, to the text tool, and I typed in Philippians. You can type in anything you like. I could do it all in caps if I like. 4:8. So I did that and I hit enter. Okay, that's it in block letters. But I measured on the back how much space I had, and you know what? I really think that this will work. Let me look how big I made mine. I made mine about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches at the most. So right now this one measures, come up here and let's see. I'm going to get inches. It's about 2 inches. Wow. Can make it bigger. Like that. Really? Philippians? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost 4 inches. Alright. So we're going to make it fit in this hoop though. And then I decided, like, I wanted it to go around a circle-ish. So I came here and I clicked on place on the bottom, and I didn't want it placed on the bottom. So then when I clicked off place on the bottom, it went like this. And I was thinking, looking at it, it looked like it ought to be a little bit flatter. So here's the radius. So all I did was putz with this and play with it until I got one I thought would work. And y'all, I'm not really good at math, so I didn't do math. I just thought, okay, that looks good. So what I did was I went to File and I printed it. So a print preview would look like this. After I printed it, I cut it out and I saw if it fit with my hat. If it didn't, okay, I just would close this, and maybe I needed to have its radius a little bit less, like not quite as rounded, or maybe a little bit more rounded, right? So I would do this. It was just trial and error, but I got lucky, believe it or not, in the first time it worked. But I didn't do any math. There's probably some kind of math, something you can do, but I just did this and it worked. So Let's go back over there now and I'll show you. Oh, and by the way, for this, it just used block. On mine, however, I did not use block. I used, what did I use? Let's look back here. And we can tell what I used by clicking on it. I used Merrily Police. And we can look right here. What was my radius? 169. Let's see if I can do that over here. My radius is 133. On that one, it was 169. So it was about like that. And I did not use this font. I used, what did I say? Merrily Police. So, you know, if you have Merrily installed, then you also have these fonts. And I used Merrily Police. There it is. Just regular. There's Merrily Police, Merrily Police 60 weight, and Merrily Police Mini. I used just the regular one like that. And I must have squished it up a little bit like this. So let's go back. So that's block. I'm going to duplicate that just to see what police looks like. Copy and paste. So then I'll move one of these down as soon as I get my selection tool. Okay. And this second one here now, I'm going to change it to the police just to see how different they look. Merrily Police. Oh, went too fast. There it is. All right. Okay, they really don't look that much different. It's a little bit thinner. See, the P is a little thicker around here, a little different. But basically they look pretty much the same. So that's what I used, and that's all there is to it. So now I'm going to go over to the machine and show you how you get this on the back part of the cap. Okay, I want to show you how I patch this. Now notice I've already used this, but I want to conserve this sticky stabilizer. So I just cut a piece that's going to fit on the back. And actually this is larger than I need, so I'm going to cut a little bit off of it. So about like that, it's going to fit on the back. Or actually I'm going to put this one on the front here. So all I do is peel this off. And if I can't get it started with my fingers, then I just take a sharp tool and start it like that. Then you tear off the paper. Then I'll stick this right down onto that other stuff that's already there. Just like that. And then, okay, I'm ready to go. So I'll take my cap. The way I have it situated on my machine, I have to have my cap this way, which normally I wouldn't really want to do with the brim going into my machine, but it'll be okay on this. So again, what I want to do is take this seam from the hat and make sure it's lined up here. I can get closer. There. And then I can also look and make sure that this seam here is straight and matching up with this over here. Okay, that looks pretty straight. So now I'll just straighten it out a little bit. That, lift it up a little bit, move it. Again, it still looks pretty straight. So after that, I take my pre-printed template and place it on here. Again, making sure that this lines up with that. And I don't want it to go over these little eyelets. So I'll put it down this low. So I'm lining up this line with this stitching line on the hat. And I just place this right onto here. Then I take this and place it into my machine. And once again, I'm going to make sure that my needle is going to go at the center of the belly button of the snowman. So right now my center is right there. That's not at all where I want it. I need this center to be way moved down and coming towards me a bit. Let's see if that's any good. I'll put my needle down, bring my needle up. Okay, that looks like that's just about dead on where that's gone. So I take off my template now. Don't forget that part. And I'm ready to stitch. So again, I'll end the embroidery and I'll stitch. Okay, as you can see, it's all done, turned out beautifully. And again, what I would do is carefully take this off so that I can patch the sticky stabilizer again. It's a good way to save a little bit of money on stabilizer. And actually, yeah. So, there it is. So, thanks so much for joining me, you guys. I hope you liked seeing how easy it is to use these hat hoops. It's amazing. I love them. I'm so excited. They'd be fabulous for like family reunions or just any kind of a celebration. Everybody could wear the same hat. Anything, just, you know, the sky is the limit, as they say. So again, thank you for joining me. If you like my videos, please give them a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, if you're in the market to buy some hat hoops, hey, please use my link down below. I bought mine from Sewing Machines Plus. They're a fabulous company to work with. The shipping was quick. I just really enjoyed working with them. Also, if you're in the market to buy anything else to do with embroidery or anything else, again, check out my links down below. Thanks again, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.